Hey everybody, it is Friday the 3rd of November. Gosh, this has been an absolute game-changing week in real estate and mortgage. Let me break it down for you. First of all, on Tuesday, the National Association of Realtors and a couple of brokerages lost a major lawsuit, like a critical lawsuit that has to do with how commissions are paid. Today, I did a live stream, spent about 30, 40 minutes talking in detail about what it means to buyers, what it means to realtors, what it means to sellers. Check out that live stream. The link will be down below. It's really good information, and it's important for you to understand the reality of what's happening. What we know and what we don't know, and where this is going to lead in the future is unknown, but I've given you some of my ideas of some of the implications I think are already taking place. All right. Secondly, Wednesday, the Federal Reserve made an announcement. They did not raise interest rates. And guess what? Mortgage rates came down. As a matter of fact, mortgage rates started coming down a little bit Monday and Tuesday. And then they came down even more on Wednesday. And everybody said, oh my gosh, that's great. It's because the Federal Reserve didn't raise rates. Actually, that's not why. The Federal Reserve is pretty wishy-washy in their information that they announced on Wednesday. But what they did is they made it clear that they see that they're having some good impact. My microphone's messing up on me. Let me fix this really quickly here. They're seeing that they're having some pretty major impact to the economy, and that they really don't need to destroy jobs to create a recession to fix inflation. It's a really good sign. But there's actually some other things going on behind the scenes that have to do with the US government and how Treasury bonds are sold. And they basically laid out their game plan for what bonds they're going to sell in the near future. And it gave a really good indication of what the government's doing relative to the economy and the bond market and what they're thinking. That was actually the biggest reason why interest rates dropped on Wednesday. Then yesterday, rates kind of stayed pretty decent. They improved a little bit yesterday. The biggest report was this morning. This morning was the jobs report. So the jobs report is critical because jobs equate to strength of the economy. The more people that are employed and are looking for or are gaining jobs, that are getting hired for jobs, the stronger the economy is. When you have a lot of people working, those people are having disposable income to spend, which in general you'd think is a good thing. It's not good for inflation. It's why inflation went so high over the last couple of years, because people not only had jobs, but they were getting all the stimulus money from the government. And that created a challenge because now there were too many dollars chasing too few goods. So when employment is doing well, that's good for the economy, bad for interest rates. Guess what? This morning's jobs report came in with fewer jobs created than expected. 150,000 jobs created instead of 180,000 jobs created. But what most people don't understand is this jobs report, it's a guess. What's happening is the Bureau of Labor Statistics the month before, so on October 15th, they made a bunch of phone calls, like I think 30 or 50,000 phone calls. That's it. Like they're talking about, they decide whether there were 150 or 180 or 300,000 jobs created in the United States this month based on making 40 or 50 phone calls. They're randomly sampling people and saying, hey, did you get a job, lose a job, have any job changes this month? Yes, no, thank you, bye. Hey, did you get a job, lose a job, have any job changes this month? Yes, no, thank you, bye. That's all they're doing, is doing a random sample. And so that's how they get the information out so quickly. So on October 15th, they made those phone calls. And then today, they told us the results of those phone calls, that survey that they did. But they also give you revisions to prior months. So they're saying, hey, by the way, the information we told you on October, the first Friday in October, about the calls we made on September 15th, we've looked at some other reports, and we've done more than just looking at those phone calls. And we actually feel like that number should be revised. And so they revise it up or they revise it down. Well, guess what? There was a huge amount of jobs created in the month of September, which is why rates in October shot up to over 8%. That's not the only reason why, but a big part of it. Rates shot over 8% because of the number of jobs that were created in September. And they came back today and said, oops, we were kind of off a little bit. We didn't create anywhere near as many jobs as we thought we did. And so, well, there's fewer jobs created in September than what we had expected. And well, we're going to revise that number down. And while we're at it, we're going to revise the number for August down as well, because we kind of overshot that one as well. So there's some pretty major guesswork that is being done, and they're guessing wrong. So now today, that was the final straw to say, you know what? Rates, they're rallying. And we're seeing rates go down from the low 8% range to the mid sevens. And in some cases, you can buy it down into the sixes. So we're seeing a huge benefit to interest rates right now. And it's been kind of a trickle each day this week that's gotten a little bit better and a little bit better. Here's the challenge. The challenge is we've got a lot of news in front of us. We've got inflation reports coming. We've got the Federal Reserve is going to start talking about what they're really thinking. And we don't know, because the Federal Reserve is scared that if rates start dropping too quickly, the economy is going to heat up again. So don't sit on your laurels and say, oh my God, rest on your laurels and say, oh my gosh, everything is great. I do think that this likely represents the peak of interest rates. That's my personal opinion. If you look back in my YouTube history, my personal opinion's been wrong more often than it's been right, at least when it comes to timing. Now, in general, the movement of the market is cyclical. We know it's going to move, but nobody can predict for sure when it's going to move or how quickly it's going to move or how high or low it's going to go. But of all the economists that I listened to this morning, the majority of them said all of the signals say that we've just passed the peak. That's a really good sign. That doesn't guarantee that we won't go back to that level. We could hit it again, and that still means that we had passed the peak because we didn't peak any greater. And yeah, we could go higher than that. Who knows where things are going to go? But all of the technical signals, all of the market signals are saying we're past the peak. The question is, how quickly do we start going down? And what is your strategy to take advantage of that? Because if you're waiting for the housing market to get ready for you, you might win with interest rates coming down, but you're going to lose with house prices going up, because you're not the only one that's sitting on the sidelines waiting for waiting for interest rates to drop. And so as soon as those interest rates go down, you have a bunch of competition. You have a bunch of people who are in your same shoes that are going to come out and they're going to be looking to purchase homes, and they're going to be writing offers in competition with you. And if you listen to the video that I did today, the live stream about what this lawsuit means, one of the implications is when the market gets hot again, there's a good chance you're going to have to pay your realtor's commission, or you're going to have to skip using a real estate agent to negotiate on your behalf. That's a pretty scary proposition. So if you've got a huge down payment, you're in good financial shape, you could win by waiting a little bit. If you're willing to pay your own realtor's commission and a little bit higher price on the home, you're going to get a better interest rate. But for those people with a small down payment, they need seller credits, they can't afford to pay for their own realtor, this is your time. This is your market. This is when you take a shot, because historically, the holidays are times when people don't want to sell their home and people don't want to buy homes. Who wants to move during Thanksgiving and Christmas time? So the sellers who have their homes listed over the next 60 days, they're serious about selling. And there aren't many buyers out there wanting to buy during the holidays. This is your time. This is your opportunity. I'm not going to say marry the house, date the rate. At some point, rates will come down. You have to be willing to make and able to make that monthly payment in the meantime. But guys, let's think about some ways to navigate these waters. I was talking to a buyer today, and he talked about, hey, his payment level is only so much, but to get the house he wants, it's going to be about $1,000 a month more. And so I said, well, you're a single person. You're buying a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Have you ever thought about getting somebody to live in the house with you? Now, he can qualify for the higher monthly payment. He just doesn't want to spend it. He wants to have some disposable money. I agree completely. But I said, have you thought about renting out a room? And he goes, yeah, actually, I kind of did think about it. I said, how much do you think you get in rent? He goes, I think I could get probably $1,200 a month in rent. And I said, then actually, by buying the more expensive home and renting out a room for $1,200 a month, you're actually getting a cheaper monthly payment than what you were expecting. And find somebody you like, find somebody you know, talk to coworkers. Everybody says, I don't want to rent a room to a stranger. I'll guarantee you there's people at your work that aren't strangers that would love to have a great place to live in your beautiful home. Somebody that you know and see on a regular basis that would be willing to rent a room from you. Think outside the box. This is a great market. Speaking of thinking outside the box, a couple of quick announcements I want to make sure I cover with you. First of all, FHA has now adopted a positive outlook on accessory dwelling units. Critical change, huge change. I did a video about this. I don't know if it's been posted or not, but give you the quick overview. 2 major changes. FHA is going to let us count rental income from accessory dwelling units. So if you're buying a home doing an FHA loan and it's a single family residence that has an accessory dwelling unit, we will let you count the rental income from the ADU to help you qualify. And we only count 75% of the rental income, but we will let you count the rental income to help you qualify. The second thing, which is really cool, is FHA, if you're doing a renovation loan, FHA will let you use renovation money to build an ADU on your property. So you might buy a house that needs some work on it, and so you get to finance the money to do the work on the home, and you get to finance the money to build an attached accessory dwelling unit that you get to rent out to receive additional income, and it's not even somebody renting a room in your place. You're actually receiving income from a separate studio or a separate 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom that's attached to your house. So there's huge opportunities with ADUs right now, and I want to make sure that you're taking advantage of those. The final change is Fannie Mae announced that for 2, 3, and 4 unit properties, a primary residence, effective later on this month, you'll be able to do it with just 5% down. So you can buy a primary home, 5% down, and you're able to buy a 2, 3, or 4 unit property. Talk about house hacking. You can get rent from 3 other units, live in one of them, and they significantly offset your monthly payment. So if you're in a situation where you need to get creative, give me a call. I've got some really good creative options, and I'd love to help you make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate your trust and you listening to me. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.